my name's Nathan.
I'm Jessica.
And I'm Dave.
So if you're watching this, you probably know who we are. So we all work for CreateFuture. The reason we thought we'd get together this morning is we've just very excitingly been started working with Penguin Books. And that got us onto the topic of talking internally last kind of few days really about the books that we've really enjoyed, and particularly the ones that have kind of maybe surprisingly influenced our working lives. So we thought we'd just take five minutes of your time and ours, really, just to kind of chat about that, and hopefully you find something interesting. And at the end, we'd love you to share the books that have really influenced you as well. So, Jessica, should we start with yourself?
Yes. So my book, actually, I love it so much. I've kept giving it away to people over my career, and I have it here. It is Joel on Software, which might be an unusual book for somebody in my kind of role. So, you know, I've always been on the project management, production, account management side of things. But when I first discovered Joel on Software, I think it was the first book, business book, that I was humorous. I thought it was funny, but it was serious as well. It really helped me understand how to communicate with my colleagues better, especially developers. So I started my career more on the software development side. And Joel on Software, it's a series of blogs. If you haven't read it, it's a series of blog articles, and they pull them together into a book. It's by a guy called Joel Spolsky, and his company make fog bugs and Trello, they make amazing products. So they really practice what they preach. So this is going back like 10 years ago or something that I read the book, and it talks about, you know, creating user stories. They didn't call it that, I don't think, but that's what they were doing. But writing in a really humorous way. How to help developers manage their time. So for anyone that's worked with me, they know how much I love task trackers. That's where it came from.
And it hasn't dated then over the 10 years? Is it broad enough?
It's really, really broad, and it's all about how to work well together. It's all about how to communicate. There are some more technical ones that are aimed at developers, but for me, I just think it really helped me to gain credibility, I think, with developers as well, because I was taking a user-centered approach to my project management. So, yeah.
There you go. If you had a copy, I would borrow it.
Yeah.
And then you'd never get it back.
Well, I've got it electronically, but it's not quite the same.
Yeah.
Dave?
Do you want me to go next?
Yeah, go.
Well, I think in my working life, one of the books that really helped me was Menswear Dog. Just helps you to work out what to wear in the office on a daily basis and how to look your best. I'm joking, but it is a fantastic book. Every page is filled with this. Started on Instagram, a dog dressing up. How cool is that? Instagram account worth following, and they made a book which has what your capsule wardrobe should look like if on a dog. In a more serious sense, as a designer and creative director, I had to learn how to manage time, and I was never very good at it. You guys, really true. And the book that really did help me, and I think I've read this book 3 times now, because every time I start getting stressed out, I go back to it, is David Allen's Getting Things Done, the GTD method. It's really, really simple process. It's almost like a structure by which you live your life. So if you, simple things like if a task can be done in less than 2 minutes, you have to do it there and then. And a lot of things have come off this book, like I use Google Inbox instead of straight Gmail, and Inbox was built around the GTD method about diary management and time management, and it's not as dry as you might think. It's actually very, very useful. So that's mine.
Yeah, and mine, when we discussed this, there were a stack of business books that came to mind, but actually, if I was being honest, the book that has probably impacted me and that I think about the most since I've read it is a fiction book, and it's The Circle by Dave Eggers, published coincidentally by the greatest publishing house in the world, Penguin Books. It was published in 2013. I think I read it in about 2014. It's not a business book, but it is a lot of things. It's a kind of professional coming of age story. It's a very darkly comic thriller, but most importantly, it's kind of emerging as a very prescient satire of the role that we're allowing technology to play in our lives, both kind of positive and in some cases like worryingly. It's set in a kind of present where Facebook, Apple, Google have all been subsumed by a company, seemingly benevolent company called The Circle, and so they've kind of taken over really the software, the content, the hardware, and the services that we use just to kind of to engage and live our lives by. And it chiefly concerns itself really with matters of kind of privacy, what we share and what we're happy to kind of share, and kind of peer approval. And there's so many things. As I read this, there were so many things that a couple of years ago that were just were true, but the author was taken to, as good satires do, to a kind of almost ridiculous but quite believable extreme. But since then, you've seen services launching that kind of almost seem to have been inspired by the book, and then certainly recently when we things like the kind of recent police shootings and the call for people to be wearing video cameras kind of 24/7. It features very heavily in the book, and also the enfranchisement of young people and how that might have been changed by digital voting, for instance, and how that might change the political landscape. Again, that features very heavily in the book. So I've probably recommended this more to people than any other business book in the last week, for getting a sense of both the positive and potentially negative aspects of like what it is that we do when we consider and introduce new digital services into the world.
You recommended it to me about a year ago.
Yeah.
I read it, and it's a modern day 1984.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic book, and it kind of weirds you out. So I think things like the cameras everywhere. The mantra of the company is that if you're hiding something, then you're not being being
which
a good
again is
person.
very 1984, and again it's a lot of these. The thing is that people in the book kind of willingly let this technology into their lives with sometimes with a little regard for actually where it could go. But great book, highly recommend it. If you haven't got time to read the book, I think the film's coming out in a year, maybe the year after, and it's been filmed at the moment, I think. So that's good.
I'll need to read it next.
Yeah, no, you can have a copy as long as they get it back. So hopefully that was interesting. There's certainly a lot of other books that we could talk about. Maybe we'll come back and talk about more straight business books. We're using books a lot, like Traction, Lean Brand, Sprint, the Google Ventures book. I mean, these are kind of like we check in on those almost daily. So maybe we'll have a session and chat about how we're using those.
Yeah, I think we wanted to go over something a little bit more maybe unexpected.
Yeah. And if there's any books that you think that we actually based on what we've done that you think that we should read, we'd absolutely love to kind of hear about them. So buy us a copy and send it to us.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.